All right, what is going on, OMFL? This is Down and Distance with Hurt and special guest Maniac again on this Friday afternoon. We just all got done watching Nate get way too excited over his game versus the Atlanta Falcons. There, he pulled away a victory. He is now 9-2, and we're gonna get right into this episode of Down and Distance. Hurt, what are we gonna talk about this week?
We've got our lineup for this episode is going to be our power rankings. You'll hear each member's thoughts on their power rankings, giving the top 10 teams to this moment in week 12 as we sit inside the OMFL. And then we're going to do a little division winner projections heading into the playoffs. We've got roughly about 6 weeks left. And so that'll be kind of interesting to see how things play out. We're going to give you our projections of what is to come. And then we're going to talk about some interesting things inside the OMFL, our most watched games for the last 2 weeks, and then what to watch coming up in the next 2 weeks.
All right, let's get started off with some power rankings here. So we have usually you'll see on a top five on Press Live. We're actually gonna do top 10. We're all three going to do our top 10. We'll go from you can decide 10 to 1 or 1 to 10. We might all have the same number one, so it might be more interesting to start from 1 to 10 to see where it is in the bottom. Let's go ahead and start off with Maniac since he's our special guest again. Let's see where he's got his power rankings.
All right. Well, thanks guys again for having me on Down and Distance. I really appreciate it. Um, and but let's get down and right into my power rankings right now from what I've been seeing. Um, it's kind of like the top, the top five. A lot of people. I mean, everybody's probably going to have number one D Money, but I'm going to start from. I'm going to go up from 10 to 1. And at number 10, I have little coach, however you want to say it. I don't know why that name just like sends like messages in my brain every time I say it. This I'm saying it wrong, but the Bengals are 8-3, and you know what? I don't take in full consideration the schedule. I kind of look at the all around thing of what teams have been doing recently. And the Bengals have been playing consistent all throughout the season. I've had him a little higher. He's fluctuated a little bit with my rankings from 7 to 10 the last couple weeks. But at number 10, I've got him here today at 8-3 in the Bengals and the power rankings. At number 9, I've got Big Hurt and the Bears. Of course, he's riding a 3-game winning streak. 3 weeks ago, Big Hurt was probably not even the top 20. So he's definitely made some waves and has got his team playing a lot better, even though he's had some injuries. So kudos to you, Big Hurt, for doing that. At number 8, I've got Colin with the Giants. I know him and Dwayne are kind of fluctuating back and forth between my mind and the top 10. And I believe Dwayne just had beat Colin in their last matchup, but it was really close, and I just think the schedule favors Colin a little bit better than Dwayne, so I'm putting him at number 8 here. And at number 7, I have the Bills and Mr. Bill at 8-2. I do know he had a loss recently, but I think that could have been CPU, so I'm not 100% sure on that. But Bill, I have you at number 7. He's still playing really stout in that AFC East, but he's got somebody else right on his heels, or actually overtaking him. At number 6, I have the commish himself, Nate, and the Saints. He just with a big win over the Falcons at 9-2 now at number 6. And then at number 5, I have Cincy and the Colts at 7-4. I know you had kind of a little setback with the Broncos, but I think there was a situation that kind of caused that to be a setback for you. But you played really stout against Trey. You won that game, pulled that game out. You also just absolutely knocked the brakes off of the Cowboys. So I think you're trending in the right direction, and I placed you in that top 5 heading into this power ranking at 7-4. And then number 4, I've got Trey. If I feel like I kind of went back and forth putting you in front of Trey, but I did not do that. Trey does have the better record, and he has played, I guess, more consistently across the board as of recent. But Trey at number 4, Lions at 9-4, and then at number 3 I have Kobe and the Jets at 8-2. A few weeks ago, I said that Bill pretty much had that division wrapped up, and then looking now, Kobe kind of figured some things out with the Jets. I think he got some players in positions that he really liked, and now he's at 8-2, so he's at number 3. And at number 2, I have Penguins and Washington at 9-2. Has a great offense, solid defense, especially that front 7 on defense. Just he is hard to establish a run against. And of course, number 1, Mr. D Money and the 49ers just cruising along at 10-1.
All right. Well, there you have it. There's Maniac's top 10. Some interesting picks. Let's see if we all follow suit. And Hurt, you're actually going to go next because I have to take this phone call.
All right, so my top 10, likewise, I'm going to go 10-1. I think that we're probably going to have some similarities at the top, so I'll go from 10-1 here. Just outside my top 10 with honorable mentions, I did have the Texans and the Giants. The Texans are surging, but the Giants, with the loss to Dallas, I had them fall out of my top 10. But then starting at the 10th spot, I had the Cleveland Browns, who are on a 4-game win streak. I think Denver is kind of able to lock back in, and winning 4 straight puts himself back in the mix of the North. So I do have him sitting in the 10th spot. And then I have the Kansas City Chiefs, led by Shoxman, as my 9th spot. He is on a 2-game losing streak. I think I had him sitting around 6 or 7, 8, somewhere around there. But I have him slid down to the 9th spot with these last 2 losses. The reason I don't have him falling out of the top 10 is he's missing his top receiver. So I do have Shox fans sitting there waiting to kind of see how these next couple weeks pan out for him and if he can get things back on track. Then in the 8th spot, I have Little Koch, who is the Bengals owner. He was, I believe, on like a 3 or 4-game win streak, and then slipped up when he played Little Nipples with the Ravens, which was a division loss. Made things a little tight there, but he's still 8-3, playing good football, so I do have him in the 8 hole. Then at the 7th spot, I've got Bill with the Buffalo Bills. I really think that I could move him up higher based on the record, but there's just so many teams that have been hot, and again, Bill has been top 5 quality from a win standpoint, but I just feel like a few other teams have gotten a few more quality wins. Bill does have a few games at the end of his schedule that can really solidify him, and move him up a couple spots if he's able to find a win on those games. Then in my 6th hole, I do have Nate with the commissioner, who is leading with the Saints. He just won a game against Atlanta here in week 12. Nate seems to continue to play good defense, find a way to win games. So I got him there sitting in the 6th hole, playing solid defense led by his defensive backs, and then Kamara and the quarterback Alfred and the young receiving core playing good football. So got him in the 6th spot. Top 5 here. Excuse me. Top 5, I've got Trey sitting in the 5 spot. Trey with the Lions. It's interesting because I did have him fall down after his game with Cincy. I had Cincy sitting in the 6th spot, but in watching last night's game, I really think since he established himself where he has won a few games here the last couple of weeks, one against Dwayne, one against Trey, and he's got a few games left on his schedule. But so Trey kind of fell back to the fifth spot. Trey's played solid football, and I really think that he's going to continue to find wins and lead the North into the playoffs. I just question his ability because he relies solely on Jameson Williams, and Belton doesn't seem to be much as a factor at times. So I think that he's kind of too reliant on one guy and just isn't spreading the ball out enough. But I think that he's still finding a way to win and make himself, a force. As I said, I do have Cincy leading the fourth spot. I had him at the sixth spot, but then, with wins recently versus Dwayne and Trey, I couldn't hold back and not move him up, so I had him sitting in the fourth spot. I think he is going to continue to look to get some key wins here down the stretch. He does have Roger right on his tail, so let's see what happens there. Man, my throat's killing me today. 3-hole, I've got Kobe with the New York Jets. Kobe's just playing solid football. We all knew that he was going to make a push, and here he finds himself in the 3-hole. I look for him to be, in the mix in the AFC for sure for years to come. And here he is in the 3-hole. And then the 2-hole, obviously, Washington Commanders, led by Penguins, playing good football, doing his thing. And I think he's kind of been in the picture in the NFC East for the last couple of seasons, but able to take control of that division this season. And then, obviously, number one is D-Money, Mr. Consistent. He's just been there, and he's going to stay there. He plays lights out football on both sides of the field. And, those are my top 10.
Perfect. So a little different. That's what we like to see there. Not quite the same. All right, I'm gonna go ahead with my top 10, 10 to 1, or 10 to 2, since clean sweep D-Money at number 1. But my number 10 is going to be the New York Football Giants. All right, they are sitting at 7-3. I think I might have them rated the lowest out of us three. I got them sitting just behind the number 9 Cowboys. They just recently played each other, so that was a little push I had for the Cowboys over the Giants. Both of them, they're fighting hard. They got a few losses each. I think Cowboys are 6-4, and Giants are 7-3. They're going to be fighting hard all the way to the end of this, and I look for them to both gear up and make the playoffs. So sitting at number 8, I've got the Detroit Lions. I watched a couple of his recent games, and then I got to watch it front row last night when I was playing against him, and he relies too much on, like, Hurt was saying when he was talking about it, relies a lot on Jameson. Well, he relies on the similar plays on defense. He runs a lot of the same schemes, so he gets caught doing some things. He's one of those guys that only will rush 3 or 4 to try and rely on that pressure. But sometimes it bites you if you don't get that pressure. And then on offense, he's really got to find a run game. He's really only finding a run game with his end arounds. He can't go out and run the ball 20 times for 100 yards. That's why I have him as number 7 at 9-3, unfortunately. At number 8 at 9-3. Number 7, I've got myself sitting at 7-4. Got the win over the Cowboys and Lions there. So I recently, it wasn't early in the season, so I have myself a little over them right now. Trying to find a good path to roll with here. Try and figure out my game plan for the playoffs here. How I'm gonna, toss in. Just got Keenan Allen. He's a little backup plan in case something happens to Michael Thomas. You know, myself's number 7. Maybe I have some losses because I key in on him too much sometimes, or key in with JT too much. It's just got to figure out that right balance. So at number 6, I've got the Brownies. I don't know if he made the top 10 on either one of your guys's, but yeah, I think he's steamrolling right now. He's coming in hot. He's found his path. He's on a 4-game win streak, and I think he's going to take that north. And yeah, he's rolling right now. So he's bumped all the way from outside the top 10 to all the way to 6th. So I like what he's doing over there, old Denbrew. Number 5, I got Bills. He's still in the top 5 for me. You know, he's sitting at 8-2, solid record, playing well. He's just doing his thing. Um, you know, he doesn't make too many mistakes, but I still think he at the trade deadline he should have found his hole and improved on it. So we'll see how he finishes up. He's got Trey, I think, week 13. So that'll be a big game to watch. I'll definitely be watching that whole game. Number 4, I've got the 9-2 Saints. Nate just had another impressive victory. Sometimes he struggles with offense. I mean, he had a pretty good offense this past game versus Atlanta, but he's got a really good defense. Lattimore with another pick today. Um, that's where that's his bread and butter. He's gonna stay in every single game because of his defense. Um, he had a rough patch when he played the Commanders, but I think if he played him again, he would play it a little differently. I think he didn't go in with the right game plan, but I got him sitting number 4. Number 4 is not too shabby. Out of 32, I'll take 4. Uh, Number 3, we're gonna go a little different from you guys here. I've been talking about, you know, my Super Bowl pick as being the Flightless Birds, but right now I'm gonna take him back down. He's gonna be my number 3. Um, he just had a rough game against who was that? Old Denbro. And sitting at number 2, if we're talking about right now standings, you just can't have that bad of a game. I think he scored like 3 points, and I don't want my number 2 guy scoring 3 points in a game. But you know what? He's going to bounce back, and I think he's going to. He's in the toughest division in the league, in that NFC East, and he's going to bounce back and figure it out. And then number 2, I've got the Jets. I got the Jets right now. They're on a 4-game win streak, I believe it is. They see Bill bleeding a little bit, and they're hunting. They're hunting for that blood. They're coming in. I think he's found his stride. He's got his offense rolling. He's got Brees Hall steamrolling. He's now the new number 1 guy in the league in rushing. He's got his tight ends rolling. He's got his receivers. His quarterbacks finally staying positive in the pocket. And then number 1, we got D Money. I'm not going to say anything about that. That's my top 10.
Yeah, D Money needs no extra attention.
All right. So we got our 3 power rankings there. So we all had D Money. Our 2s and 3s are pretty similar, and then 4 through 10 was a little different, which I liked. Now next we're going to go into the divisional picks. So we're just going to go ahead and run through, who we think as of right now. It's week 12. So right now, who do we have winning the divisions? We're going to start off with you, Maniac.
All right, well, let's get into the NFC side of the ball since that's what pulls up on Daddy Leagues right now. Of course, you have the NFC East. The Commanders are now sitting at 9-2. They did lose the game to Denver, like you said. The Giants lost to the Cowboys, and so I think it's going to make it interesting coming down towards the end of the stretch. But it's still going to have to go with the Commanders pulling it out and winning the NFC East in that division. I just think he's got too big of a lead at this point. But crazy things have happened. This is the OMFL where the impossible does happen at times. So, we're moving down to the NFC West. Of course, this is the D money division. The 49ers, that team in itself, the 49ers are just stacked with so much talent. Just looking at his Daddy League roster, probably half of his backups would probably start for about half of the league. So he's got so much depth, and then on top of the starters that he has, we're talking like players like Bosa. I mean, um, that's just that's tough going. And then you got D Money himself, and so, but yeah, this division is called already. Sorry, those of you that are behind D Money in the West. So I have the 49ers taking the West. Moving on to the NFC North, we have the Lions at 9-3, Packers 6-4, Bears at 6-5. And I believe what is there? There is how many weeks left? Four
It's,
weeks left for you guys.
no, it's week 12 right now, so 6.
Okay, okay. It can still something can still shake up here, but I think Trey's got this pretty much locked up. Um, I do think the Bears are going to give a run for the money, man. Possibly if Trey and the Lions do slip up a little bit, I believe that this is going to change a little bit. I believe the Lions are going to be first, and I believe the Bears are going to end up being second in this division, right on his heels. But I'm going to go ahead and call it for Trey, the Lions in the North. And the NFC South, this is the other division that I don't think has a chance, just kind of like the NFC West. Nate's already got a stranglehold on this division. The Saints are marching 9-2. He just had a solid win against the Falcons, even though the Falcons are 1-10. Division foes are always tough, and so he held out on that one. And the Saints are going to walk away with this, or march away with this, should I say. All right, moving to the AFC side and going down the day leagues. AFC East, we have the Bills, Jets, both tied 8-2, Dolphins and Patriots bringing up the rear. There was a few weeks ago that I said that Bill was playing really solid and was going to walk away with this, but I've changed my tune. I believe that Kobe is going to be your division winner in the AFC East. The Jets, like you said, their 4-game win streak. He's just playing good football at the moment. His defense is playing really good as well. I believe he has possibly the second ranked defense as far as giving points allowed per game, maybe the third. But that's really good defensive play, and I'm a firm believer a good defense along with solid offense does win you more championships. So give the nod to the Jets in the East. In the West, we're gonna go with the Chiefs at 7-4, Broncos at 5-5. The Broncos kind of came out of nowhere because he was not in the picture. He's kind of came up the last couple. He did win that game against you. I think there was uh, some crazy stuff going on in that game. I'm not sure exactly what all, but um, the Broncos, Jay Glaze, he's been around for a while, and he always seems to be kind of on the heels of whoever's at the lead. So, but Shocks fan, I think what's hurting him is he lost his wide receiver, the rookie wide receiver, and he was relying on him a lot. And so this one to me right now is a toss up because if Shocks fan can't figure out things, he's going to continue to stumble, and that's going to open the door for the Broncos, who have kind of surged the last few weeks. So I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in this, and I'm going to call it the Broncos are actually going to pull out the West. We'll see what happens, but right now, I think Shocks fans, if he can get it figured out, he'll hold on. But I'm going to go ahead and predict the Broncos to win the West. Moving on to AFC North, the Bengals at 8-3, Ravens at 6-3, Browns at 6-4. and then the Steelers 2-7. Browns have kind of come out of nowhere. The Ravens, we're not sure that's the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde team of the AFC North, I believe. One week they're good, and the next week they're, I think, just life gets in the way for him in his game sometimes. So the Bengals and little Koch, I think he's been playing really solid, but I think Denver with this resurgence is going to give him a run for the money, and um, I think it's going to come down to the Browns actually coming back and shocking and winning this. But if Little Koch can hold on to it, that won't be surprising either. But I'm calling the Browns for the North on the AFC side. And then last but not least, the AFC South, we have the Colts at 7-4. The Houston Texans somehow, some way have just caught on like a hurricane and has won 5-6 games in a row. I think it's really amazing to see Roger. I know for a long time that he's been one of those teams that's been on the bottom end, and to see him having some success is really awesome to see, and I'm glad for him. But your Colts right now, they're playing really good. I think it's going to come down to the wire. I think Raj is actually going to continue to push and actually possibly punch his ticket to the playoffs. I know there's a lot of teams that are already in front of him, but if he can continue to pull off wins, he'll get in the playoffs. But I'm going to call this for the Colts and the AFC South.
All right, and there you have it. There is Maniac's picks. Well, Hurt, you live over there?
I sure am.
All right, let's get your
Even though-
picks, buddy.
Even though I do not sound like it, I am alive. Let's see. All right, so starting with, go here and pull up my standings. All right, so I've got, starting with the AFC and the AFC North, I've got the Browns winning this division. Them being the 4-game win streak. Denver's been Mr. Consistent in the OMFL Bowls the last couple seasons. I think, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and beyond, we were all kind of like scratching our head what was going on. But as of late, Denver has found his way. And when he finds his way and he's in his groove, watch out. And I just don't think, looking at the schedule for the Browns and the Bengals, there's some similarities. But we do have a game between the Browns and the Bengals left on our schedule. And being that the Bengals still have a bye week to play or to hit, and the Browns have already hit their bye week, really it's only like a game and a half difference. And I think that Browns could take the Bengals in that head-to-head matchup left, and then, like I said, they got the Giants and they got a few other similar teams. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out. I mean, I don't think it's going to be like a runaway multiple game lead, but I think it's going to come down to really that head-to-head matchup. So I got the Browns winning this division. Bengals taking a wild card. And then in the AFC South, this one is taking shape and coming to full form here in the last couple of weeks. Roger on a 5-game winning streak, definitely shaking some things up, but we can't disregard the wins that the Colts have pulled off against the Cowboys and the Lions in the last couple of weeks. So I just have the Colts playing more complete football and playoff form football, and I just think the Colts are going to hold on. I think they still have a game left. I think it's week 14, head-to-head, Colts versus Texans. So that'll be an interesting game to watch. But I definitely have the Colts hanging on for this division. I do think if Roger can stay hot, he definitely will be in a position to lock up one of those wild card spots. In the AFC East, it's the battle of the Bills and the Jets. Massimo still in the running for a wild card. If he can, play his football and lean on his quarterback and his passing game and play some defense, he could get a wild card spot. But the top two teams, the Jets and the Bills, Kobe, Bill, this is going to be an interesting finish. I'm going to stay with what Maniac had. I'm also going with the Jets here, a 4-game win streak. Kobe's defense is top of the league, definitely way out in front in points allowed in this division. But he's also at the tops in offensive categories in this division. So, I mean, when you have top of the offense and top of the defense, it's a good recipe for finding some wins. And it'll be an interesting game to see with the Bills and the Jets. But I'd have Kobe hanging on and crossing the finish line here and taking the AFC East. And then I have Bill grabbing a wild card spot. Then in the AFC West, I have an interesting pick by Maniac because the Broncos I could definitely see as a playoff team, but the one thing that is alarming is the points allowed. 324 points in 10 games. That is like 32 and a half points a game. When you're giving up 32 points a game, you're not going to win many. Unless you have a game like Cincy where you won 45-42. But if we recall, I believe, since you can correct me, but it was like a 28-7 or 35-7 or something, and he's still
35-7.
35-7, and still almost lost that game. So, and I just think it's a matter of time before that defensive woes catch up to him, and too many times, and he's already behind the 8 ball. And like we all know, Shocks has got out to a quick lead, lost the top receiver in the last 2 weeks. That's hurt him. Once that receiver comes back, I do see him kind of finding his way again, having multiple weapons. I just think he's trying to figure that all out right now. And when you lose your top player like that, it's tough to rebound from. And actually, Dexter Clinton, the top receiver that we're talking about, has only got 1 more week. So, with that being said, I do have the Chiefs winning this division, but I will make note that the Chiefs and the Broncos do play this week, and Clinton's out for 1 more week. So, if Shocks is listening, he needs to find a way to win this game without Clinton, and then it's pretty much a wrap. If he loses this game against the Broncos, you open up the door for a really, 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 really close finish in the last 5-6 weeks of this season. Even though you're getting your receiver back, this game this week on week 12 is going to be the most important game left on your schedule. Because you are head-to-head with the Broncos, but you also still don't have Clinton back. So that'll be a fun one to watch. But, yeah, I have the Chiefs hanging on and winning this division with his hot start and riding it out. Then we move on to our next division, which is the NFC North. This is a division I'm well aware of. Trey at 9-3, the Packers at 6-4, and then myself at 6-5. I have found some success the last couple of weeks. I got one against the Packers, which was a crazy game. Trey, I've watched a few games here as of late, especially the one against Cincy last night in Week 12. I do think Trey's got a big enough lead, and he's going to continue to win some games. And I just don't think the hill for me to climb, or even Priest to climb, is too much at this point. But myself and Priest are both in the wild card running, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I have the Lions winning the North. The NFC South, this one's over. This one's done. It's a wrap. Go ahead and crown the Saints. The Saints, unless they have like an epic fail and lose out, and even then, it still might even be the Saints division. But the Panthers, I think, got a big win last week, 16-10 or something like that, versus, I don't remember who they played. But anyways, the Saints have gotten themselves a big enough lead, and they're not going to lose out. They're going to win a couple more games, and probably the majority of their games with the defense that the Saints have had so far this season. It is one of the tops in the league. And I look forward to seeing what Nate can do in come playoff time with this team. He's playing good football, and yeah, the South belongs to who dat. NFC East. We've mentioned this a couple times. I do think this, and I agree with Cincy, as he stated earlier, being probably the top division in the OMFL for this season. Penguins, Colin, Dwayne, all fighting for this. Dwayne's been a staple for the NFC East for years. Had a slow start, and then kind of found his way, ran into Cincy, and then bounced back and got a big win against Colin last week. So things are still up in the air, but as in a few other divisions, I think the Commanders have built themselves enough cushion. He's going to continue to win some games, and I just think the hill's too steep for the Giants and the Cowboys to climb. And I do have this division going to Penguins and the Commanders. And definitely the Cowboys and the Giants are in the running for wild cards. I know myself, I have the Cowboys here coming up in a couple weeks, so it'll be fun. See how things pan out for wild card spots in the NFC. But this one division lead is going for the Commanders. And then my last division, this one, like the NFC South, it's a wrap. We all were anticipating Meek with the Seahawks to give D-Money a run for his money and hopefully contest. Early on in the season, the Seahawks started hot, and they've lost 3 in a row, and D-Money has won 8 in a row. So I think two teams trending in different directions, and if you're trending in the opposite way of D-Money, that's never a good thing because D-Money is always trending up in the win totals. So this one belongs to the Niners and probably going to solidify the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Perfect. That's a good divisional picks there. A couple similarities. I'll have a couple of same. I'm going to go backwards here. I'm going to start with the NFC West, and I'm also going to pick D-Money. He's just been solid. He's like Maniac said, he's got that Pro Bowl team over there. Just his for the keeping. I see the Seahawks fading, and they're gonna miss out on the playoffs, in my opinion. They just got too many holes that they didn't fill, and they're just not gonna overcome that. And there's a couple teams rising. The NFC East. That's the interesting division there. We have Commanders leading as of now, but it's tight. It's honestly there's 6 weeks left. Anybody's game. Cowboys can honestly win out right now, and they could take it potentially. I mean, the Commanders. I look at their schedule. They might have 2 losses in them still, but we'll see. We'll see where that goes. I think they play each other again, and but it's going to be tough. I don't think the Commanders are going to slip up a couple times for Dwayne. They might slip up once for Colin, but I just don't think he's got the head-to-head. So I think the Commanders are going to take this one. And
if Dwayne wins out, I just want to point one thing. He does have on his schedule Little Koch this week, Saints and Nate next week, then the Falcons, then the Bears, the Commanders, the Bucks, and the Steelers.
I thought you said Satan for a second. I was like, what?
Nope, the Saints.
All right, so
but that's
you got a tough
4 or
task
5
there.
good games.
Yeah. He's gonna have to get his big boy pants back on and get back on that horse. But you know what? He'll be in the running. It's Dwayne. He made a couple moves. We'll see if his play calling trends that way towards his big move. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, I got the Commanders going. Colin's Colin. He's got it figured out. He'll make playoffs. We'll see if if Dwayne, with that tough second half schedule, can hold on to a playoff spot there, the number maybe 7 spot. All right, we'll go to the South here. This is one team only that's making the playoffs here. Um, it's gonna be Nate and his Saints. Um, he just had his big party week this week, Mardi Gras. Um, maybe next week we'll get Hurt to try on some of that gear that Nate had on, all the purple fan stuff on his head. We'll see. We'll see if we can get him dressed up for it.
I will not be looking like a peacock anytime soon. I'll tell you that much.
And so yeah, Nate's defense is just he's got it rolling. Like I haven't seen his defense perform this well in a long time, and he's just got to keep this up, and he can make a deep playoff push with the defense he's got here. And NFC North, we got a tight battle here. 6 weeks left. You know, Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings are out of it. Vikings tough team. They got every top free agency, and it's equaled out to 1 win in 10 games. So it's got to figure out some things there. I could see all 3 of these teams making the playoffs potentially. Bears, they're getting hot right now. They got a couple phone calls for Justin Fields at the deadline, but he didn't pull the trigger. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. I think. Do you got the Lions, or did you play them twice? Or you played them twice already, didn't you?
I have left on my schedule. Take a look here just to be
Let's see what
sure.
your schedule looks like. Let's do a live look at the schedule. See if I got you making the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm on a bye week right now. I play the Dolphins, the Titans, the Cowboys, the Texans, the Colts, and the Vikings.
All right, some up and downs in the schedule there. It's gonna be close. You're gonna have to, win your games you're supposed to win, and you're gonna have to either take down the Colts there myself, or you're gonna have to take down Dwayne. You're gonna have to win one of those two, if not both, for that last playoff spot there, because you're already sitting at 5 losses. So I think 6 is gonna be the max in the NFC there, for that number 7 seed. So it'll be interesting. I see the Packers holding on to a spot there. They do got a couple tough games. I think they got D-Money and they got one other tough game that I can't remember, but I see him still making it. And Lions are going to take this division.
He's got the Titans, the Giants, the Jaguars, the
Giants,
Cardinals,
he's got me too.
D-Money, and then Rams, and then you week 18.
Yeah, he's got 3 tough ones. Yep. So we'll see what he does in those 3 games there. All right, going to the West. AFC West. We got Shock's fan, like you said, his big receiver's out 1 more week, and it's a big week. Taking on the Broncos. If the Broncos win this week, I have the Broncos winning the West. The difficulty difference in schedule for the Chiefs and Broncos for the rest of the year is pretty big. The Broncos schedule after the Chiefs is not terribly tough, and the Chiefs they got a few big guns coming up here. So I think if the Broncos pull off the win, they're winning the West, no matter if he gets his receiver back or not. Chiefs still got a shot at the playoffs, or the Broncos even. Now, if the Broncos lose this game, I think they're going to have to win out, which they could, even though they're giving up 30-plus points a game on defense. They could win out and then potentially secure that 6-7 seed. Nobody's getting that 5 seed other than someone in the East there. But they could get that 6 or 7 seed there. There'll be quite a few teams fighting for that. And we'll push over to the East here now, which is another team that's fighting for that playoff spot, Massimo. He's got a couple big games coming up. He needs to bear down. Like I said, 6 losses. That's going to be the key. So Massimo, you get 2 losses. I don't think you're making it in there as a wild card. But we're gonna add more fuel to the fire here. We're gonna get Bills pumped up here. I think he's gonna fall to the Jets here in the division. I think Kobe's hit his stride, and he's gonna hit these last 6 weeks and propel himself to the winner of the East. And Bill's gonna take that number 5 seed. And look out for whoever that number 4 seed is, because Bill's gonna come fast and furious at you. So I wouldn't want to be that bottom division winner there. So you guys better keep fighting. AFC South, my division here. So Raj is lit a match and caught fire here and sparked a few fireworks here. He's playing with sparklers out there. He's feeling 12 and he is running around having fun. You know, he was sitting at 1-5. What was it? Yeah, 1-5, and I was talking to him. He says, "Man, I thought I put this team together. He made all these moves in the offseason, made some good draft selections. He thought he built his team the way he wanted to, and just like that, he got a couple big wins, and now he's rolling. He's screaming down my back right now. I only got a 1-game lead. I got a couple tough matchups left, and he does too, but I think when we play each other week 14, we'll find out about this division. I think I'm going to have myself winning right now, but if I slip up, you know, week 14 versus Texans or a couple times versus someone else, then, Texans could very well take it. You never know. AFC North here, the last one. I've got, this is a tight battle here, but I got the Ravens falling, potentially out of the playoffs, even at 6-3-1. Um, I just don't know if he's got it in him to keep up playoff football. Um, Little Koch has got a 1-game lead on Denver over there, and I see I was talking highly about Denver earlier, and I'm probably going to talk about him highly a little bit later. Yeah, he's found his groove. He's back. He's got his run game back. He got rid of Nick Chubb in the off season, and it took him a solid you know 6, 7, 8 weeks to figure out what kind of game plan he's going to play. He's playing a little different than he used to play, um, but he's found it and he is ready to go. So I think the Browns are going to take this AFC North. Little Koch, you got the wild card, probably the 6th seed if I had to guess, and then that 7th seed is just going to be a dogfight. You got about 3 or 4 teams sitting there looking for that 7th seed, so that'll be a nice finish, and I can't wait to see how it ends. So you heard it here. Browns taking the North.
I was just looking at a few schedules here while you were going through yours, and I found this really interesting. So the Bills, to close out the season, they have this at Seattle, the Jets, the Lions, at Miami, at the Jets, at the Niners, and the Titans. That's going to be
So he's
interesting
got the
because,
Jets twice. They haven't played each other yet.
nope, the Jets
Wow.
twice, the Seahawks, the Lions, the Niners, and the Dolphins. The only win that I really feel like is just a gimme win right now is the Titans because I think they've kind of thrown the towel in. But outside of that, everybody else is really competing for playoff spots and in the mix. So Bill's got a really, really, really strong schedule to finish out this year. And then looking at the Dolphins, kind of in the same boat. He's got the Jets, then the Bears, then the Browns, then the Bills, then the Rams, then the Seahawks, and then the Patriots.
Wow, that is tough. I might actually have him fading out of the playoffs with that kind of schedule. If he makes the playoffs with that schedule, that's impressive.
Right, and then looking at the Jets, because that's the division we've been talking about. The Jets have the Dolphins, the Bills, the Ravens, the Colts, the Bills, the Patriots, and then the Cardinals. So really, realistically, I
Wow.
think the Jets have 2 teams that are kind of like out of the playoffs at this point. Patriots and Cardinals. Everybody else is like fighting for a spot. And then the Dolphins had one team that was pretty much out, and that was the Patriots. The Rams are kind of on the borderline, but probably out. But he's been playing better football as of late. And then, like we already talked about the Bills, all 3 teams have a pretty strong schedule to close out this season.
Yeah, nope, I definitely agree with you. It could be anybody's division, honestly. Well, not. I don't think the Dolphins are going to win the division, but for playoff standpoints, it's anybody's ball game. But yeah, I think the Bills and Jets. There's still a lot of football left to be played in these 6 weeks. So you're right. It could be anybody. So, anyways, now that we've done our power rankings and our divisional picks, I think we're gonna try something a little new this week. We're gonna do like an interesting fact. It could be like, how'd you say it hurt? Maybe a trade or an injury or a key stat.
Where he's just going to throw out one interesting thing that we find about the OMFL, and it can be anything. It could be a trade, it could be a statistic, it could be a division winner, it could be how someone's playing, it could be literally anything that's happening inside the OMFL. We're just going to point it out, just kind of and highlight, something that's going on inside the OMFL that is interesting or that we found worthy of highlighting.
All right, Maniac over there. What's your one interesting fact of the OMFL through 12 weeks?
Well, being the guy on the outside looking in, my look is a little bit more limited than you guys, but the interesting thing right now I'm finding in the NFL or the OMFL, looking at daddy leagues, is that there's exactly 16 teams at a 500 record or below, and then you have 3 teams right now at 1 win. To me, that's pretty interesting. Most of the time, you only have like one team in the OMFL with like a 1 win scenario. And guess what? Outlaw is not you. You've played pretty well from what I can tell. You've got 2 wins and 1 tie. So congrats to you, because I know a lot of times he's his own worst enemy. He puts himself down a lot, but that to me is an interesting fact that 16 teams are at or below 500, and 3 of those teams are with just 1 win.
Hmm, that is an interesting fact. All right, I'm gonna go next, and then I'm gonna save our best interesting fact for last with Big Hurt. Um, my interesting fact is going to go all the way over down south to the Cowboys. Let me get over to his squad here. All right, my interesting fact is this man made a late, it was like maybe 15 minutes until the deadline, until the commish said no more trades. He went out and traded for fullback Patrick Ricard. It was like maybe a third round pick or something for him. He got him pretty cheap there. Baltimore was just looking to get some picks, cut some cap. Um, he was struggling. He's trying to find his roots. You go out, you get fullback Ricard. Um, brother, you need to run more. Get back to your roots. You just went and got a 300-pound fullback. Probably one of the best fullbacks in the NFL, if not the best. Um, get back to your roots. Establish that run. Don't make Prescott do too much there, and get back into your groove and be a dominant player in the OMFL, like we all know you are.
That's a pretty interesting fact. I actually didn't even
Hmm.
catch up on that trade. The funny thing is Patrick Ricard. I don't know that I would put him as the best, but I'd put him at the top. Kyle Juszczyk out of San Francisco is probably the best all-around fullback, in my opinion, from a blocking, receiving, and everything standpoint. But Patrick Ricard is almost like adding another offensive lineman, being 6'3", 300 pounds. So I mean, you line up in a goal line formation, or even just I form, strong, anything like that. It's almost like having another lineman, and he's got the athletic ability enough to get out there on the stretches or the outside run plays. And then with that 90 strength, I mean, no linebacker is going to be able to fight that. That's just that is something to be mindful of. And I mean, being only 30 years old, he's still got some time left to play as well. So
Oh
that's a
yeah.
good move. Good move by Dwayne. Hopefully, like you
Hmm.
said, he can get back to his roots and start playing his style of football, because that is a guy that would work for him.
Lead block rating at 95. I think that's what I saw. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think my
Yeah,
fullback's
he's.
got a lead block rating of about 20 sometimes, it feels like.
My interesting fact is going to be something that we talked about last show. And my MVP on the offense was Aaron Rodgers. This man has fallen off the charts in the passing leaders. I just got done playing him. I mean, he had, in the last 2 weeks, he had 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, and then 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. So he's 5 touchdowns, 3 picks in the last 2 games. But he was like sitting at the top in the passing and having like a top offense, and he went from being at the top to like 9th, I think, in the league or something like that. And we talked about, is this a guy that can have a 50 touchdown passes? And was like, oh, if he keeps playing football the way he is, I really think that this is something that could happen. And throwing 5 touchdowns, isn't that bad in 2 games. I mean, 2.5. But I just don't see with the back end of his schedule, I don't see Rodgers hitting that 50 mark like we were talking about. And it's interesting to see that he's fallen down the charts because Kenny Pickerson and Tua, Trevor Lawrence, Blase, Deshaun Watson, Pritchard, Burrow, and Trey Lance have all jumped him. And so, I don't know. Is Priest losing his way midseason like he normally does? Or I would say has been known to at times? Or is he just having a rough couple of games? So we'll see. Keep an eye out on that. I had to stay within my division just because that's what I know and that's what I research. So yeah, that's my interesting fact.
Perfect. Yeah, 3 very interesting little facts there. I think we're gonna keep that segment rolling. That's a good segment. So with our last being, we got the game of the week, what to watch for. I think we're gonna do 1 game each for.
Yeah, we're gonna do 1 game that we thought was the best game to watch in week 10 or 11, and then what game is the game to watch or keep out and tune into for week 12 or 13. So one that's already been played, week 10 or 11, and then one that's unplayed. What should everybody tune into for week 12 or 13? And I can go ahead and start on that, just to give you guys a chance to kind of look at the schedules. Pull my schedule back up here real quick. League schedule. So week 10, I thought the game that I was most tuned in to watch, which we kind of talked about a few games back on our last show, and then I think we pointed out the Commanders and the Saints, the Cowboys and the Colts, and then in week 11, well, I think I threw a game. Oh, D-Wayne and Colin versus the Giants. The game that I'm going to kind of go to, and the reason I'm going to cover this game is I really thought that it could end this way, but I was more or less just watching the game, was like really impressed how dominant this game was on one side, and that was the Cowboys and the Colts in week 10. I really thought the Colts, solidified himself and made a statement. That not that he's not capable of doing it, but D-Wayne was kind of trying to find his way, and the thing is since he picked off Prescott 4 times in that game, and I was interested to see that he had an okay running game with Elliott and Mostert, but just like shied away from using it. He was averaging 4.6 yards with Elliott and 6.2 with Mostert, but it was like he didn't stick to it, and since he just covered that with the addition of Patrick Ricard at fullback, and then CeeDee Lamb did have a big day at 7 catches, 110 yards and a touchdown, but it just seemed like it was a struggle for his offense since he was all over him defensively. And then since he pretty much had his way offensively, with Michael Thomas doing his thing that he's done so far this year, 6 catches, 111 yards, and a touchdown. Jelani Woods had 2 big catches for 58 yards and a touchdown. Keenan Allen had 3 for 40. So, and again, the stat that really stands out is the 4 interceptions. Dexter Connor, the rookie, had 2 picks. Shaq Leonard had a pick, and then Nick Cross, who I heard on last night's stream against the Lions multiple times. He's been having a good couple of games. So I just thought that this was kind of a game, like I said, that I thought the Colts or the Cowboys could win, but I didn't see it getting it to be a blowout either way. And I think at one point it was like 41-13 or something like that, and then he scored maybe a late touchdown to make it. But even that, it's still a 22-point win for the Colts. So that was my game that I kind of was tuned into and watched and thought was surprising. And then my Week 12 or 13 game to keep an eye out for. Kind of have a few of them. I think I could throw the Chiefs and the Broncos out there in Week 12. But the game that I'm going to stick with is going to be the Jets and the Bills in Week 13. I think that is the first matchup between them. And this division is, we just talked about their schedules and how things are going to be pretty rough down the road for the Jets, the Bills, and the Dolphins. So this AFC East is kind of up for grabs. And being that they have 2 matchups, they're both 8-2. These head-to-head games are going to be very important for both the Jets and the Bills. And so why not make that the game to watch? Let's tune in and see who gets the first win and kind of maybe takes control of the AFC East for the time being. But that would be my game to watch in Week 12 or 13.
Perfect. Those are some. That was a good game to talk about there. That Jets and Bills. I think that's going to be a huge game for the division, like you were talking about there. So I'm going to. I'll go in the middle here again, and we'll leave Maniacs for last here with his big games that he's got coming and talking about here. It's always fun to hear, all of all the things Maniac says about the league, because he's, like he said earlier, he's watching from the outside in, so there's just certain things he just can't see, so it's a nice viewpoint to hear what he sees. But my game that not game to watch, but game to recap is the week. What was that? Week 11 or 10? Let me go back here. It was kind of a snoozer, but it was an eye opener for me. Is week 11 here? The Brownies taking on the Commanders. I've been a big believer of the flightless bird this year. He's my season 104 Super Bowl pick from preseason to the end. I'm sticking with him, but Denbrew here showing his dominance, saying he's back. There wasn't many turnovers. 27-3. You look at turnovers, it's 1-0. So there wasn't many mistakes by Washington. The one mistake, I didn't fully get to watch the game, so I don't know how it played out. But Joey Sly for the Commanders missed 2 field goals. I don't know the full impact of them, but it could have changed a lot of things. I mean, you miss 2 50-yarders, and the Browns are already 20 yards away from scoring position. So I just think Cleveland or Denbrew now 4-game win streak. He's got his run game going here, as you can see. He's got McCook here and McGee, however you say these guys' names. Doesn't matter. He's finding a way with them. He's got his 1-2 punch. Yeah, I just think he's going to be rolling into the playoffs here, and he's got a nice 4-game lead, or not lead, 4-game win streak to solidify that he's telling the OMFL that he's back. And yeah, like I said, it was a snoozer, but I think I'm gonna go back and watch it and just see how the Browns were able to contain the Commanders to only 3 points. Um,
One thing I found interesting on that stat line, I didn't even see it until now, was Deshaun Watson was sacked 0 times.
oh,
And the Commanders, when we
Whoa.
were talking earlier this season, I put the Commanders as one of the top defensive lines in the league. So I don't know if it was just a game plan that Denver had, get the ball out quick, short, those types of things, or what he did. But for the Browns to come out of that game and protect the quarterback with 0 sacks, definitely a big win there.
yep, I agree with you there. Um, and another thing is, I don't know if he got hurt, but he's got Aaron Jones, man. He's got a very good second running back. You gotta get that boy the ball more than one time. I don't know what happened there. I just seen that now. So he's gonna be starting on a lot of teams. I don't know. There was no other guy there to be mentioned. But that's for another topic. Anyway, so my game to watch is coming up in week 13, I think. Maybe. Yes. Um, couple big wild card races here. We got Packers Giants. I think is a good one, but I'm gonna go Saints Cowboys. I actually love watching these guys battle here. Now I think it's a bigger game for Nate than he thinks. We can all say this. He's got the division wrapped up. 6 games left, 5-game lead. I don't think he's gonna screw that up that bad. So he's got the division wrapped up. However, we got Dwayne fighting for a playoff spot, and I think Nate needs to win this game to just show that he's for real. If he loses this game, if he gets folded on and loses by double digits, um, we could be fading the Saints here and potentially seeing them being a one and done. But if he beats this Cowboys team, and Dwayne doesn't like it when he loses to Nate. Sometimes Dwayne goes 48 hours without talking to Nate if Nate can pull the upset off. So we'll uh, we'll see what happens. But this is two tough defenses. We're gonna see if Dwayne can establish that run again, and we're gonna see if Nate can keep that defense up. That defense is creating turnovers, and those turnovers are going into points. So that's gonna be the key to victory. If Nate can get the turnovers, or if the Cowboys can establish that run game back. So I'm gonna be watching that game all start to finish.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Maniac, what do you got over there for us?
All right. Well, let's see. The last show that we had, I said for week number 11, the game that I was looking forward to was actually the Cowboys and the Giants. And there was actually a couple of games that I didn't actually get to watch that game a whole lot. Actually got to watch Big Hurt play the Packers, and that could be one that we could be talking about as well. But I'll go ahead and I'll talk about the game that I picked the last time and just kind of go through it. The Dallas Cowboys won that game, 24-20 over the Giants. It was actually a really good ball game between both teams. Both teams are pretty evenly matched, it seems like, player wise. Um, Prescott had 214 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. He did have a pick. I think how you say Collins quarterback ballsy, I think is how you uh, uh,
Blase.
blase.
Mr.
Uh,
Yannick.
uh, but yeah. Well, Blase was ballsy, and he had 302 yards passing, one TD, one interception. So, not really didn't have anything that cost him the game there. But I think the big stat was Colin didn't have much of a run game, and so um, usually if you play fast, Dwayne plays slow, and he controls the clock and I think that was the big key to this game right here. But it was definitely a great game to have watched. Like I said, I didn't get to see it, but he definitely seemed to have controlled the clock better with Elliott and his rushing attack at 85 yards and uh, Mostert with 27. yards. So on 6 carries, that was just Dwayne's type of ball that he plays, and he had some play action passes and stuff to his receivers. But anyway, Dwayne, he is such a good player, and so um, to see him kind of at 6-4 in the middle of the pack in the NFC East is kind of unusual. But sometimes that happens, and you kind of have to rediscover yourself. And I think so far, I think he's kind of um, doing that, but I think he also needs to stick with what he has got him there, and that's the rushing attack. So anyway, that was the game that I picked on the last show that I was on with you guys, and stuck with that. I think that was a really nice game to check out in OMFL. And now for my game to look ahead, I'd also picked in week 13, and of course I was sitting there thinking Jets, Bills, that's one, and then I was all like thinking Saints, Cowboys, that's one. So, but you guys already touched that, and I would definitely say it again that those two games need to be watched. But I will pick one that's kind of maybe a little bit under the radar, but would be the Packers and the Giants. I think with these two teams fighting for a possible playoff berth, this game was probably an actually really good game to check out because they both match up pretty well. The Packers scoring about 28 points per game. The Giants are only giving up 27 points per game. The Giants are scoring 25 points a game, but then the Packers are giving up 34 points a game. So, um, um, actually, I got that wrong. I think it was predicted score, but the Packers are averaging 34 points a game. The Giants are only giving up 21 points, and then the Giants score 27 points, and the Packers are only giving up 23. So really, it's kind of a good matchup. Dag League is predicting the score to be 28 Packers, the Giants 25. So I think it's really going to be a good game to check out because I think both guys currently with Priest the holy water maybe he's chugging the holy water too much and he needs to slow down on it just a little bit. So sip it, Priest, sip it. Just be a sipping saint. No, don't be no chugging saint. But uh, both teams are pretty even in most of the categories. I know the Packers are a little bit better on the defensive side with the sacks that they produce, and then his rushing attack is pretty potent as well, with 92 yards average per game. Um, but they're both averaging and takeaways about the same too. So anyway, again, this would be a game that has possible playoff implications for um, down the road, especially for the wild card spots that are going to be coming open in the OMFL.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna be a battle, and I'm definitely gonna be watching this Packers Giants game 100%. There's gonna be quite a few games that I'll be tuning into. Can't wait to watch the way the regular season of season 104 ends here. It's gonna be an exciting finish, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there you have it. We've got Cincy, Maniac, and Big Hurts. Opinions, reactions, projections, whatever you want to call it, and all aspects of our power rankings, our division winner projections, and some interesting facts and also game recaps and games to watch out coming up here in the next 2 weeks with our weekly show Down and Distance. We appreciate Maniac joining us here once again. We look to host and have him on here as much as possible. Once again, we appreciate him. Yeah, absolutely, man. Appreciate you joining us just because it's another opinion. And, like we've mentioned a couple times, we know that you're not a part of the OMFL as an owner, but you are a part of the OMFL and you've been a part of it in the past, so you understand what goes into it and just your thoughts and opinions and coming with the facts that you always bring. It's definitely a good, solid, factual opinion that from the outside looking in. So we appreciate you joining us. I don't have anything else, but I appreciate you guys tuning in for another show. We'll see you guys in another week. Cincy, do you have anything for us?
I got nothing. We'll probably be week, I don't know, let's say 14, 15 maybe when we get our next show roughly. And, races could be a little looser. They could get a little tighter. We'll check on that wild card race. Hey, we'll even check and see
Mm-hmm.
who's up for grabs for MVP in the OMFL. We'll look and see some in-depth stats on the year and see what we got.
Absolutely, absolutely. Maniac, do you have anything else that you want to throw out there before we wrap this up?
Hey, I just want to say that in Nate's game, I'm kind of toot my horn a little bit, but I called it, Nate. I called it. Lattimore in the second half would come up big for you in that big interception there. So, and he's also my pick for the defensive MVP of the OMFL. So, I'm looking good on that standpoint.
I definitely can attest to that. He did say Lattimore's have come up with a big play here in the third or the fourth. He always turns it on, and then sure as shit, fourth quarter, about 3-4 minutes left, and Lattimore jumps that route, and I was like, damn, he called it, it happened. So yeah, it was
And we all love
definitely
Nate's
fun.
reactions on live camera. He's got the best.
I don't know if his reactions or if his little thumbnails are better. I mean, the one that he had with the other night, that was something else. But we appreciate Nate's flavor and everything that he does, putting content out there, and we hope you guys enjoy this just as much as we enjoy putting it out there for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoy what you have. The Nate is a great commish, and he puts so much effort out in this league. For those of you that are participating in the league and stuff, he always puts the OMFL first, and that's refreshing.
Absolutely. Well, there we have it. We're gonna wrap this up. We're an hour and 17 minutes in, and our goal was an hour. We're just past that, but we're good. So until next time, peace. Enjoy your games. Check out those games that we pointed out. And if you guys have anything that you want to be covered, reach out to Cincy or myself or even Maniac and let us know what you would like to have us discuss, and we will try and get that incorporated into our show in the coming shows. Have a good one.
Deuces.